Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5 The Team in Rochester. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO, the Deuce, the Moose, Zach Stanley.
It's a pit outside today, John. A pit-a.
Okay, if we do this pun thing to open the show again, I'm just going to throw it directly to Nick Steblenko, Teddy Bear 2. Save us from this ridiculousness.
That was just a crocket of goodness.
Oh my God, are you both going to do this?
Stop acting like a Dixon.
Nope. I'm literally boycotting the rest of the Star Fantasy League show just because you've turned this into a pun fest.
Oh, why don't you just eat a Corey Graham cracker?
Is Corey Graham on this team?
No.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute. You did that yesterday, too. You decided to use a different player for it. How did nobody use the word rice? We just not
That's
talking.
too easy.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
Right. It's quite an opening right there.
Yeah, we don't go with the obvious things on the Star
I don't want to
Fantasy
make
League
jokes
show.
like an average Joe.
Flacco.
Flacco.
Okay, that one worked. That one was perfectly okay. The reason for all of these Baltimore-based puns is we've been breaking down all 32 NFL teams here on the Star Fantasy League show. This will last for, believe it or not, 32 days.
The puns?
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
I think the puns might last 32 days on the show. But today, we've arrived at my most hated, fierce rival in the NFL, the Baltimore/Cleveland Browns. This will always, to me, be the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry, they wear purple now. They're in a different city, but they're still the scummy Browns.
Do you do the same thing with the Colts?
No.
The Baltimore Colts?
No, because I have nothing against the Colts. They're not a rival of the Steelers. They have nothing to do with the Steelers. I could care less.
So you like Johnny Unitas?
Why are
Legend?
you asking? Okay, where do we go with this? You just say things and hope I react.
The band that played on.
Okay. This show is clearly not going anywhere today. It's one of those things. I'm okay with this show dragging because, let's be honest, I hate the Baltimore Ravens. Last year, I loved watching them go from Super Bowl winners to outhouse. They were pretty bad last year. Let's be honest, Joe Flacco had one of the worst career years for a guy that's getting paid $20 million+.
You know, it really wasn't that much different than every other year that he had, though.
I don't blame him.
It wasn't.
I don't blame him that much.
He's never thrown for more than 4,000 yards in a season. I completely agree with you. I think he's overpaid.
Yeah,
but he's
Well, of
never
course
thrown
he's
for...
overpaid, but he's never had that type of offense.
What do you mean?
He's never had like a really robust offense or had an offensive coordinator that is calling passing plays all the time. They've been a run-first team for several years now.
He threw the ball a heck of a lot last year.
Yeah, last year they were behind every game.
Yeah.
They were averaging 3.1
true.
yards per carry, which was a franchise worst.
And his one of his better games was that first game against Denver where they got blown out and he had 3/4 of free reign to throw the ball.
That's true.
I mean, let's call it what it is. Joe Flacco and the Ravens were really, really bad on offense last year. I don't know. I think they assumed that the loss of Anquan Bolden wouldn't be that big of a deal. They could just throw some guys in there and kind of patch up what it was. But man, they missed his physicality, his toughness, his ability to just go out there and get yards after the catch. They didn't have anybody like that.
I think this season's going to be there's nowhere to go but up for them because I think that bringing in Gary Kubiak is going to really factor in big. I think Steve Smith is being overlooked by a lot of people. He's going to bring a lot of tenacity, toughness, veteran leadership. And they got Owen Daniels, so they're going to be able to run some two tight end sets. They have a lot of good things going. The biggest question, I think, is at running back. What are they going to do with Ray Rice? Are they actually going to be able to improve? I don't know.
They missed their offensive line. They've made some switches to their offensive line this year. 3 out of 5 guys are different from who they were starting last year. Defensively, they started to go young last year. They made that transition initially. Took 3 more young guys in the draft this year defensively right out of the gate. So it's a new team out there, but some promising pieces in place.
Yeah, they're a lot like the Steelers when it comes to their defense. They may have these big names, but as soon as those guys are pretty much past their prime, they put new young guys in there right away. They're not like the teams that like to kind of just, they're names. We'll just keep them here and hope our defense improves. The second these guys are even showing a little bit of wear and tear or age, they're gone.
Well, at least Ray Lewis is still there
Yeah, he's still there.
in the form of a statue.
Is he really? They put a statue
It's going to
there
be
for him?
unveiled. Yeah, it's going to be unveiled soon. And supposedly it's him doing his celebration dance.
I hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
No, not the pregame dance.
Whatever.
That's
He
his
does
little-
it. Yeah, he does it
that's his
after the
little
game. He does it
celebration.
before the game. He does it in the middle of the game.
He does it.
So what, he's just going to be like arms wide open?
with arms wide open. Really?
I think they'll have him doing his first step on the wiggle. With his arms up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm foreseeing.
Yeah, I'm expecting this defense. Like you said, they're getting a little bit younger. They're always just a stout defense. This entire division, you have 4 teams that are potentially in the top 10 in defense every single year. You at least get 2 of them that are in the top 10. It's probably going to be Cincinnati and Pittsburgh this year. Maybe Baltimore sneaks in there too. But this defense is really, this conference is really just difficult to play with.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see the Baltimore sneak into the top 10 because I think that they addressed major needs. They got C.J. Mosley. He's going to be on the inside of that linebacking core with Terrell Suggs and what's his name on the outside? Courtney Upshaw. I think they're going to be solid at linebacker. I think they're definitely going to improve on the in the secondary. I think they have a good shot. I really do.
All right, but the need that they had to address, and I don't think they addressed whatsoever, is on offense. They really didn't do all that much. They got Steve Smith. Again, this is one of those things where you went out there and you got a guy with a name. But Steve Smith wasn't great last year. He got another year older. He has to learn a new system. I mean, what do we expect? What are realistic expectations?
I think they did one big thing this year, which was take advantage of a long-needed-to-be-fired Gary Kubiak, get him back where he is strongest suited at, offensive coordinator. Did a great job in Denver, went and did a great job offensively as a head coach in Houston. Zone stretch blocking, one-cut running scheme. I think if he can bring what he has done historically to the running game in Baltimore, they'll be in decent shape because that's the biggest problem that they've got going on right now. Their run game was no threat last year at all, which didn't allow them to stretch into passing ever. I mean, Flacco had to get the ball out of his hands immediately.
I think for Steve Smith to be effective, he needs to fill Anquan Bolden's role. He needs to be a possession receiver. He's not going to be able to beat corners down the field every single play. He's in his 14th season.
Yes,
you're not going to be the fastest guy on the field.
How
now.
many times have we seen a wide receiver completely change the way he plays? Like you said, he's not a possession receiver. He's a burner. That's what his career was. He's a burner.
Very true.
And I don't think he can do it. Torrey Smith on this team is the burner.
Well, I don't know. I think he has the veteran mindset to understand where he sits now. I think there's a good chance of that happening. I mean, in terms of fantasy appeal, you got to be taking him low in the draft, but
he's still a good route runner. It's not like he's not capable of doing that. Even though he's small, he's physical. He's been around. I think he's going to be good for the young guys to have him there. He's got a great work ethic. And from what I've heard so far at camp, he's looking really, really good. He's kind of like, obviously, he's the stretch guy. Reggie Wayne's a shorter yardage guy who also stretches the field from time to time, but very similar in terms of their work ethic and longevity right now.
I really think Owen Daniels is their best addition. I mean, I know Dennis Pitta is going to be their starting tight end, but Owen Daniels gives them a lot of flexibility. He worked with Gary Kubiak for a long time. He's going to be able to allow them to really mix things up on offense, put in 2 tight end sets. That might even help the run game because it'll throw defenses off a lot. I think that's probably their best addition, and he'll be better in short yardage situations altogether.
Yeah, that's
with him and
dangerous.
Pitta, that's 2 guys that can block too.
Yep.
And block, catch. They can pretty much do it all. So Ray Rice is going to be extremely happy that they have 2 tight ends who can do it all. I think that takes away some of the pressure from him.
Whatever happened to Owen Daniels though?
He was injured. He was injured or most of last
year.
year.
Well, yeah, but even the last 3 or 4 years, he had a couple massive years.
Who was throwing him the ball?
Exactly.
Stump the Schwab.
No. You said it, but you forgot to say stump the shop.
I mean,
Stump the Schwab.
Schaub was okay, but last season
He was out.
they didn't have anybody.
Well, he's been injured a lot, pretty much every year.
Who? Owen Daniels?
Yeah, he's had some significant injury issues.
It's true.
That is true. Well, Pitta missed almost all of last year, or did he?
He only played 4 games.
Okay, I thought he came back right at the end for fantasy playoffs. I do remember that.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the biggest offseason question for these Baltimore Ravens. Can the Ravens compete in the AFC North without much improvement over last season on the field?
Well, I think they did improve on defense. They definitely took a step forward on defense.
That's like I said earlier in the segment. I don't think that's where they needed to go. Their defense, like we said, was basically a top 10 defense last year. They were just outside 12th in passing, 11th in rushing. So that wasn't their biggest need, but their biggest need was on offense. They needed to shore up the line.
I think the line is the big question mark. Is if the switches that they're going to make at the line is going to pay off. Having guys like Torrey Smith, Steve Smith, Ray Rice, Bernard Pierce, Owen Daniels, there's enough weapons out there for them to be a good offense. Dennis Pitta, Flacco is competent. He's not a stud. He's never going to be a top quarterback in the league, but he knows what he's doing. He can get people the ball. He can throw the deep ball. I think if the line can be satisfactory enough, Gary Kubiak coming in, if he can have his influence that he's had historically over this offense and the running game, I think they'll be able to get the ball out of Flacco's hands and do a lot better this year.
Well, I really wasn't aware that Michael Oher was such a bad offensive tackle. Apparently, he was one of the worst. And the fact that they replaced him says volumes. So apparently they're taking a step in the right direction.
He couldn't cover the blind side.
Wow, thank you so much for that reference. For those of you who didn't understand that, Michael Oher was the whole story of the movie The Blind Side.
Sandra Bullock, not Randy Bullock.
Really? Were we going to be? How about Reggie Bullock? We're getting a little confused there.
I thought there was a Randy.
Yeah, there is a Randy.
There's a Randy.
Somewhere.
Randy's a football player.
Reggie's
is for the
NBA.
Clippers. Yeah, he's for the Clippers.
Yeah,
I'm
so
just
I
saying
was going
names.
football.
I'm saying other names. All right, so before we wrap this
Bullocks.
up, we're obviously going to talk about fantasy implications for the Baltimore Ravens coming up after the break. Talk about some camp battles, and I think we may have to reference a certain guy by name that's going to miss some time this season.
Who was cheered loudly on Monday at camp.
Really?
Like, loudly. They kept putting him up on the Jumbotron. People were going nuts. I mean, whatever, the media has said and what we think, we know what we think, and pretty much what everybody else thinks, except for maybe Stephen A. Smith.
Oh,
but
goodbye.
This organization has been behind him, and the fans have been behind him. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's a tough situation when a team is behind a player, and it's just like, what else are you supposed to do?
Well, it's very simple. All of Baltimore believes that women love to be hit in the face.
There we go. I knew something like that was going to get said on this show if I brought him up by name. I didn't mention Ray.
I mean, everybody in Baltimore loves Stephen A. That's his second home, don't you know?
Until I saw the video, my thoughts on Ray Rice was that he's never really gotten into any sort of incident or gotten in trouble anyway, and then I saw the video.
So. And then you saw the video, and your thoughts came crumbling down on Ray Rice's career.
I guess we'll talk about him more.
I was waiting for you to say after the break.
After the break.
There you go. After the break, we're talking fantasy implications for the 2014-15 Baltimore Ravens, and yes, we are talking about Ray Rice. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
You guys can still tweet us at SFL Show if you want to be part of John's mailbag, but that is coming up later on the Star Fantasy League's show. We're not dealing with that right now because we are still talking about the 2014-15 Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens. Still talking about them.
Do we have to?
Yeah, I know. Wait, what? I'm the one who
he's the only one that is really struggling with this.
Who?
You.
I hate the Ravens, but I like I said, I'm excited when they do poorly. I still think this is probably an 8-8, 9-7 team around there, which is probably not going to make the playoffs, and that excites me.
Who do you hate the most on this team?
Suggs.
Yeah, probably.
Suggs
is like the last remaining component of that defense that is just an absolute nuisance.
And he's a punk, too.
What do you mean, Nata? Well, he's not a nuisance. Nata's not a nuisance, but he was there.
Not a nuisance. Not a nuisance.
I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were
That's
like.
Great.
I laughed.
Nata's not a nuisance.
All right, we had our biggest offseason question before the break, but I have a second one because most teams have more than one storyline, if you can believe that, unless you're like the Jacksonville Jaguars and just nobody cares about you.
We'll have a lot of bad storylines about them.
Yeah, only one. But I'm not making up crappy. This is not ESPN. We don't make up storylines to just keep it going.
4-letter.
Oh, sorry, the 4-letter. I actually am the one who implemented that ban, so I apologize. All right, second biggest offseason question for the Ravens. Will Ray Rice's off-the-field issues cause issues for the Ravens on the field?
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of talk in the media no matter when they take the field, but I don't think that's going to matter for this team.
But there's a precedent for this. Last year, Miami was on their way to making the playoffs. Then all of a sudden, this Jonathan Martin, Richie Incognito thing, that basically derailed their playoffs.
But that kept swirling while they were playing. This is already over. This is done.
Is it over, though?
Well, he's suspended, and that's the end of that.
I think they've got enough cushion time where it's not going to be as big of an issue as it was in the last few weeks.
Yeah, they have an entire month.
Right. It's still going to be mentioned. It's still going to be talked about. But I think it's more just going to be talked about relevant to the fact that he's not there. This is the reason that he's not there.
Something's going to come along. Another story is going to come along and sweep this right aside. They have Josh Gordon to talk about, too, so that's going to continue to go. But the thing with Jonathan Martin and Richie Incognito was that there was no decision made for a little while. That kept going and going and going. It kept snowballing. We kept hearing more. The story's over. Ray Rice hit a woman, and he got suspended 2 games. So that's it. There's no more. There's no rehabilitation process. That's that. So, no, I don't think – and for the team, as Zach already said, this entire organization was applauding him as he came on the field in camp. So I think it's over for them. I think they're going to move on. The question is whether or not he can actually come in after 2 games and be more effective than he was last year, because he was horrible last year.
Yeah, let's move on here, because we're going to talk about camp battles, and that's got to be one of the biggest ones we're talking about. Because will Ray Rice get basically what he had last year? He had 80%,
600 yards.
Yeah, I meant 80% of the snaps, all that good stuff. Basically, he's the feature back, but missing 2 games. Will Bernard Pierce have any kind of claim on the starting job?
I mean, he has a shot.
I think he has a shot. I haven't seen in his gameplay from what they've shown and where he's been able to play that he's going to be capable of taking over that lead back role. I think he's a solid runner. Honestly, he reminds me a lot of Ben Tate. He really does. His style, he's not going to be as versatile as Ray Rice. We all know that. He's not going to be able to catch out of the backfield and make the type of cuts that Ray Rice makes in passing situations. But I think he'll be effective. I think he'll get his share of carries. I just don't think that he's going to do enough to just take this. I think when Ray Rice gets back, probably start with a bit of a timeshare. But I think moving forward, it'll probably be 60-40 Ray Rice throughout the season, maybe 70-30.
The thing of it is I read a lot last season that Ray Rice was playing through injury. Was that, a hip injury or a leg injury or something like that? If he corrected that, then all signs point to him being able to at least approach 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, there were definitely issues going on with him last year.
He looked slow.
Bernard Pierce has had some injury issues, but Bernard Pierce didn't he was still right at the bottom in his yards per carry. It wasn't this was more of an offensive line issue to me overall, where Ray Rice needs some room to run, although he can power for some yards because he is powerful and strong. He's thinned out a little bit this year, I think, because of Kubiak's offense.
He just never hit the hole hard. He would come up to the line, he would shake, shuffle. He would never just
I just don't think he could see a hole.
That's the disease of Chris Johnson. Look at the hole, dance around.
Well,
run
he's
back
that type. C.J. Spiller's that type of runner. Chris Johnson, Ray Rice. Ray Rice is the one guy out of that group that I just named that can pound it, but he still needs room to run to be really effective.
That makes sense. All right, let's move on to the wide receiver position. We mentioned Steve Smith is now here to go along with Torrey Smith. Marlon Brown had a really good season last year. I believe he was a rookie last year, right, Marlon? 49 catches, 524 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's pretty big considering he went basically undrafted. Nobody talked about him before the season. Do you think Steve Smith being there hurts him in his second year or actually helps him to progress as a
I think it
catcher?
helps. You have a guy in Steve Smith who has been a perennial 1,000-yard receiver, able to beat anybody on defense when he was in his prime. I think that's going to help him in his progression. I just don't know if he's going to take away a ton of time from him. That just, I think, depends on whether or not Steve Smith gets into the flow of the game early on.
Yeah, maybe more opportunities, but less reliability. I mean, they needed Marlon Brown to make plays last year.
Yeah, they had nobody
crucial.
else.
They didn't have any other options.
No Pitta. Dallas Clark was a big deal for them.
I don't see him significantly going up to where he's going to be fantasy relevant. I don't think that's the type of player he is. I think he's more of a role receiver. I think he'll be able to produce. I think he'll be a good part of the offense. I'm not drafting him though.
Yeah, he's going undrafted. Let's start talking about average draft position. This is in PPR, points per reception leagues, which are taking the fantasy world by storm. That's basically now the default, right?
I love PPR.
That's where we're going. All right, let's talk about the guy that it's on everybody's mind, Ray Rice. What do we think about him going in the 5th round? This is a guy, when healthy, when not suspended, probably should be much, much higher than that. Probably second, third round-ish.
I agree,
worst.
but you're sacrificing 2 weeks. Or at least 2 weeks, because if he comes back and, like you said, if there's a timeshare, you're sacrificing some time. However, those who drafted Gronkowski and hung on to him last season,
won their league.
They won.
Yeah.
I've seen him as late as the 6th and 7th round. I think that is a great opportunity to pick him there.
Well,
I think you're going to want to bolster your running backs if you end up taking him. But if you get a couple early on, then you have a couple picks for wide receivers, tight ends. If you save a quarterback later,
plus trade bait.
Yeah, taking Ray Rice is from my point of view a big upside pick. He's going to get production once he comes in. Whether it's significant or not, we'll see. I think that's going to depend a lot on the offensive line. But I love Kubiak there, and I like his upside.
I think the only way that you take Ray Rice, though, is if you have 2 solid starting running backs. You get him in the 5th or 6th round, that's fine, because you probably have 2 running backs and 2 starting wide receivers at that point. Then I think you're okay.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you can get 2 elite running backs in your first 2 or 3 picks, and then obviously get your wide receiver, do whatever you have to do.
Otherwise, let some other schmo take him.
Yeah, I would avoid grabbing quarterback before someone like Ray Rice, because we've mentioned it a couple times before throughout the past couple weeks that we think quarterback is extremely deep. Mm-hmm. I think you can get a quarterback in 8th, 9th round that's a starter, an easy starter for you all season.
Yep.
All right, so we're all in agreement. I think Ray Rice around 6th round is perfect.
There's a point at which he drops far enough that you can't really avoid him, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
but it's not in the 5th. I can't see myself selecting him in the 5th. It's too high.
It really 100% depends on the makeup of your roster, though. If you're picking him as your second running back, you made a mistake. Like, you didn't. You need to get 2 running backs before you even consider him.
And he's at 60.3 overall. So if that's a 12-team league, you're actually just over the 5th round.
Yeah, that's just getting into the 5th round.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some other Baltimore Ravens when it comes to draft positions. How about Torrey Smith? Anybody interested in the number 1 receiver for this team? He should have a bigger year than he had last year, because hopefully this team picks it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's remember Gary Kubiak worked with Andre Johnson, and that is
who's that?
That is a big deal for him, because he will find ways to get Torrey Smith opportunities at the ball. The biggest question is, can he actually reel in enough receptions to be that effective as a number 1 receiver? We know he can burn the field. You know he can stretch the field. Can he really play more possession as well? We'll see.
Right, and they have two dynamic running backs. If they're able to get that running game going, I think they'll rely upon it a lot. Kubiak loves to use the run game. It's just, it does all depend on that, and especially we're talking about PPR leagues. Can he turn into that type of receiver that is able to get a lot of completions in between? He had a few games with that last year. Not a ton of them, though. A lot of games he's had, it's either boom or bust.
I have him going in the 6th round. Is that where you have him? Ish?
Yeah, 6th round.
I think that's a steal.
I think that's pretty good shape for him. He's still got a lot of upside. He's still very young with this offense. I mean, we've seen the point at which Gary Kubiak has directed passes at his number 1 receivers. That's what Torrey Smith is. So there's a chance. If you're willing to look at Kubiak's previous slate of work and roll with Torrey Smith, I think there's still a lot of upside there. And I am honestly surprised that he didn't take a bigger leap this year in drafting.
Yeah. This position makes absolutely no sense to me. You're saying that 28 other teams have better number 1s than him? That's basically what you're saying, and I don't think that's even close, considering Joe Flacco is a guy who can get you close to 4,000 yards. I expect Torrey Smith to get most of that. 1,200 to 1,500 yards is what I expect.
That biggest problem is he only 65 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That was down. That was down. I think he's had like 7 or 8 in his career.
On the same note, you could say 2 guys on Green Bay that could be better, 2 guys in Chicago that could be better, 3 guys in Denver that could be better.
That is true, but I still think
it's just not a big passing team. That's the main issue here. They were passing a lot last year because they were coming from behind.
Yeah, he has upside to be a top 20 wide receiver. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
He could be much higher than this. That's
Yes.
why in the 6th round, I think this is an absolute no-brainer on Torrey Smith. Last year, I believe, wasn't he higher? Wasn't he like 5th round?
No, he's right around here. Yeah,
was he?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I think this is more fair this year.
I think he's got to take a step forward. He has to.
There's a lot of guys. There is a lot of guys around him though that you can look at. I think that's the big problem here with why he's fun. Like there's Jeremy Macklin's around there.
Yeah.
Reggie Wayne's around there. There's a lot of guys that are right in that area that you can contemplate taking.
I would personally take him over a guy like Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace, Colston's around there. Yeah, Reggie Wayne, you said's around there. These are a lot of interesting decisions.
Yeah, there's a lot of
you'll
different
have to
reasons
make.
for why you can take each of those guys.
Definitely.
But based on what he did last year, I think I know we keep repeating this, it's got to be about Kubiak.
Yep. All right, let's talk about Kubiak's system. We're going to have a lot of 2 tight end sets. Are you interested in either or both of Dennis Pitta and obviously Owen Daniels?
I think you stick with Pitta first. I think Owen Daniels would let him fall, go undrafted. I think he's a guy that you might pick up off of waivers if Pitta goes down again.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of good tight ends that I like. Pitta I'm a little skeptical about just because of his explosiveness. He's a solid, reliable guy. Doesn't necessarily have a ton of upside, and there are some guys down there. Jordan Reed's really falling a lot in a lot of drafts.
His brain doesn't work.
Okay, so
It's true.
okay, I guess we can just stop there. I don't know. Don't really know what to say.
You have no idea what to say?
I don't know what to say about that.
Because your brain.
What do you mean
brain
it doesn't work? He got a concussion.
He had like 3 major concussions.
He got a concussion.
That's
All right,
not
well,
good.
maybe we'll get him on the show and see if he can speak English since his brain doesn't work.
Hello, I'm Jordan Reed.
Oh, my God. Coming after the break, we are switching gears. My God, we're talking about Wednesday Major League Baseball, StarFantasyLeagues.com. And you listen to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Donald, Teddy Bear 2, and the Deucey Moose. Only on the Team.
Welcome back to Singing Wednesday. We are done with the Baltimore Ravens. We're never going to speak about those panty wastes ever again.
What?
Those nincompoops.
I'm sure they will come up soon.
I hope not. I really hope not. We're going to be, as the month goes on, we're breaking down all 32 NFL teams here on the Star Fantasy League show. Once we're done with that, we're going to be talking about the real season.
You know we're going to be talking about the Browns a lot. You pretty much can't avoid that.
Yeah, but they're funny.
They are.
I hate them, but they're just
I agree.
They're lovable in how dysfunctional
But
they
you
are
went
as
on a
team.
rant about them when we talked about them.
Okay, you're allowed to hate and love a team for different I love that they're just so dysfunctional. I hate them as a team.
So you have a love-hate relationship with the Browns.
I just hate the Ravens, though. I just can't stand them. Can't stand that they have the worst Harbaugh brother. I just can't deal with them.
The worst Harbaugh brother?
Yeah.
Ooh, we could have a whole segment on arguing the Harbaugh brothers.
completely
You know
agree.
what? We might actually do that. Tweet us at SFL Show if you're interested in hearing an entire debate about Harbaugh's and their terrible choice of clothing.
I'll stick with Jim.
How do you think you like him more?
Yeah, it's Jim Harbaugh. Come on.
Oh, my God.
Which one was a winner in the NFL? Come on.
Wait, am I confused?
John won a Super Bowl.
Wait, who's with who?
Jim is with the
San
49ers.
Francisco.
Oh, no, I like John more.
Yeah,
Okay,
same
I'm saying
thing.
one of them is
I'm
a
confusing
proven
my
a proven
Harbaughs.
player. The other one's a coach. Come on.
Yeah, and one of them has a Super Bowl and the other
Oh.
does not.
The other should have.
And one of them is annoying.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
How do you think that would feel if you had to walk across the field and congratulate your brother on winning a Super Bowl?
He should have hit him. He should have pulled a Jim Schwartz and just knocked him out.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that would be, I'm sure that's exactly how it went, too. All right, we're talking Wednesday baseball on StarFantasy.com. Before we get into that, there's only 9 games on the slate, so we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about the trade deadline, which is less than 24 hours away. As Red Sox fans, I think we're dreading this one a little bit more than normal because apparently we're going to attempt to trade our entire rotation. Felix Dubron just got traded. I hope that's it, but see you later, Felix. You're done.
11 and a half games back heading into August. It's yard sale time.
Why?
But why? They're a team that routinely spends the most in the majors. Why are you you're not gonna rebuild if you're the Red Sox?
Well, I mean, I understand trying to get prospects and everything, but John Lester, he's an ace. He's your starting pitcher. That is your guy.
and he's your playoff guy too. He single-handedly won you.
How old is he?
Well, you know
I
what
feel
they
like
could
30?
do?
30?
Yeah,
You know what
Yeah.
they could do? Because he is a rental. He's a free agent at the end of the
And just
season.
re-sign
They
him.
could just let him go and re-sign him.
I mean, that is so.
Yes, we have life.
That's such a mastermind plan, though. There's teams that have pulled that off where you basically trade away a player and that they make their run, whatever, and all of a sudden you go, hey, here's $120 million you asked for in the offseason. Oh, here you go. Cool.
Why wouldn't they just extend him? How does that?
Because you get
Because then you get more.
prospects for free.
You do get more. I mean, the asking price for him right now is two elite
Two
prospects.
elite. That would be incredible if you get him
So-
back, because this season's done. It's over. So you can get elite prospects and then re-sign your ace to a deal.
So are they going to sign us? Because, I mean, we're kind of doing all the work here for Charrington.
Yeah, Ben Charrington.
The only thing that's going to stop this is that they're commanding a lot for him.
Yeah, they are. But
that's it.
There's a team like the Dodgers, like maybe Pittsburgh, the Cardinals, a team that needs to win this year that will potentially leverage their future to try to win a World Series.
I'm not sure why Pittsburgh all of a sudden started falling out of the running because they're one of the teams that have actually started playing well.
Don't the Cardinals win like every other year? Why do they need to win?
I'm just saying they're in the mode of winning. That's what their team is built to win now. They need one more piece.
They don't win World Series championships.
They
last year. Oh, yeah.
Last year.
Okay.
Slam.
Okay.
Played.
I know. I'm well aware the Red Sox won the World Series.
3 years ago they won?
Yeah.
Because the year before it was the Giants, right?
They won with Pujols,
yeah. Wasn't as recent as Boston.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Thank you for derailing this. So if you had to gun to your head, when we're on the show tomorrow, do you think that either John Lester or John Lackey are wearing different uniforms tomorrow?
Wait, I can say either? I'll definitely say either. Yes, one of them will be wearing a different uniform.
Who is it?
Lester.
Okay. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, same.
Okay. I think if Lester goes, I think they're going to send both of them because what's the point of keeping Lackey?
Yeah, I don't really know. It just
There's no point.
the name hasn't come up as often.
No, the name. I mean, it's come up a bit, but he's not the ace. He's your second or third starter on a playoff team. That's what he is.
Who's starting for Lester tonight?
We're gonna talk. That's actually a great transition. Thank you, the Boston Red Sox fans. If you purchase tickets tonight expecting to see John Lester, congratulations! You get to see Brandon Workman. Yay!
I don't know, man. It's just brutal. I can't believe how far gone they are right now.
He's okay. Don't hate on him.
All right, like I said, you got just over an hour to set your lineups on StarFantasyLeagues.com. 9 games on the slate for tonight, which is a little sad. Thanks to Major League Baseball for doing that and screwing us all up again.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I like day games.
Yeah. So do I.
I mean, it's unfortunate that we can't talk about them, but I really do like day games.
I know, we're on at 5 o'clock, so you really can't talk. We can talk about them in progress. Yay, nobody cares. All right, so let's talk about some trends we got. How about some stacks that we're heading into for tonight? This one you put in at least 2 players from one offense all the way up to 4, which is the maximum on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Where are we going, Nick?
Our whiny baby boy Colby Lewis is back on the hill.
Why is he whiny?
What do you mean? He was the one that was whining about the unwritten rules.
Right. You know what? Sports is so ridiculous. We talk about so many different stories. I actually forgot about that. That was like 4 days ago.
He started crying about how Colby Rasmus laid down a bunt when the shift was on, but I have a feeling that the Yankees are just going to smack a couple out of the park.
Yeah, they don't need to bunt because he's that bad.
Yeah.
Just hit.
Yeah, no, I think that you can load up on lefties. The only one, actually, who historically has not done well against Colby Lewis is Jacoby Ellsbury. Funny enough. Not really sure why.
I'm not even holding. Honestly, against a pitcher this poor, he's just been really anytime you have an ERA over 6, that's disgusting. And he's actually
starting.
They don't
have a choice. They don't have Texas literally is out of options.
Yeah, they're resting
their
their
no
offenses.
choice.
I mean, you can get some value in this as well. Obviously, Gardner's been hitting absolute lights out recently. He's still only 7,500, StarFantasyLeagues.com. You got Texan there under 8,000. Beltran's been hitting the ball well. These are all guys that aren't even not even close to 9,000. That's kind of elite area. So
yep.
I'm perfectly okay with those guys. That's one of my favorite stacks of the night as well. How about you, Zach? Where are we
Yeah,
heading?
I had the Yankees in there as well, but I'm also looking at the Angels. I kind of like them in this spot. I think I'm going to put in Jose Albert Pujols, and that's his name.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Jose Albert.
I didn't know that.
Actually, you might want to look that up.
Yeah,
Real
he
quick.
just made that up yet again.
I don't think I did.
I
really don't think I did.
I can't believe I actually.
I was almost going to say Jose Maria Albert, but that's definitely not right. I think the Jose is correct.
Jose Maria
I'm not putting. I mean, who else can I put in here? I'm not putting in Josh Hamilton because he's
Cole Calhoun.
Why not Josh Hamilton?
Because he's playing like a clown.
So?
And he has his body language is shot. It's just ridiculous. I'll put in Ibar. Who else?
Yeah, I just said Cole Calhoun.
Yeah, Cole Calhoun at the top of that lineup he's been really good.
I gotta say though,
Kendrick maybe.
Kevin Gossman's actually been pitching well. I mean, the Angels' offense is out of this world, so definitely not a night you want to take.
I mean, I'm going to be putting in the Yankees. I think we're all in agreement on that. It's a fantastic pick tonight. They're kind of on a roll right now too, and I love the way Gardner's been playing. Holy crap!
Yeah, I know.
All right,
and it looks like Teixeira's getting into the groove.
I don't love anything about the Yankees, but yeah, he's playing well.
Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, we can talk about how great they've been, but as a team, boo, just boo. All right, let's. I'm going to talk. I always try to bring out whenever possible an out of the box stack that makes me happy. This one is so out of the box, you're going to laugh at me when I say it, and then you're immediately going to dismiss me as a human being.
Out of the box.
It is Wednesday. We're allowed to say
with Jonald.
Thank you for that segment break. I love that. I'm talking about a certain guy that's one of the best pitchers in the entire major leagues. I'm stacking against him tonight. Corey Kluber is going against Felix Hernandez, but I'm going with those Cleveland Indians. You like how I did that? Okay, a little confused? No?
Yeah, you really confused me.
You're taking Cleveland against Hernandez.
Yes, I am, because I know 100% that he's going to be like 88% owned because people love that name. They love trying to get Felix in against any team, but Cleveland is one of the best teams against righties, third in the league. They have 7 lefties in their lineup. I know he did absolutely shut them down last time. I think that was in Seattle, though. I believe that a couple of these guys in this lineup, I'm not putting 4 in. I'm not going to ever say that. Maybe 1 or 2 guys, maybe a Brantley if you have some money left over.
So your stack is 1 guy.
No, I said 2. God. I
heard 1 or 2.
Carlos Santana has been absolutely crushing the ball. He has 5 home runs in his last 4 games. He's only 76-35. I think he could be a sneaky play based on how he's been hitting recently.
I will shake your hand if the Indians do anything tonight.
Well, I mean, Brantley has actually hit Felix pretty well. I mean,
and he's
playing him
is all get up. He's so expensive.
It's a GPP.
Why would you take him against Felix
This
Hernandez?
is a GPP play. We like to say the teams, you got to see who people are expected to pick, like the Yankees. There's going to be a lot of Yankees.
Right, but if everybody was suspected or expected to pick Felix Hernandez, wouldn't you just pick another top pitcher instead of the team that he's pitching against?
I'm saying I think you can find some interesting value because if they do get to him, you're going to be the only one owning these guys.
I just think that the only thing is that even if Brantley does get a hit on him, he's still ridiculously expensive.
That's true. That's why I said Santana, Chisenhall. These are lefties that are hitting 4 through 6 area. I like them. I like them.
I think Felix is going to run them
Fine.
down.
I'm saying out of the box stack. I might not end up playing any of these guys, but these are things to think about.
I got a real out of the box stack for you. The Red Sox. Oh yeah.
Are you serious?
No, yeah, I am actually because they actually hit Mark Burley really well.
Oh, okay.
David Ortiz is he just has so many at-bats, so much history with him. He actually does really well.
Never surprises you when Burley implodes either.
Yeah, that's true. All right,
I wouldn't.
You can find a lot of value in that Toronto lineup against Brandon Workin as well. Anthony Ghost, 3,500. He's a lefty. Kawasaki, also a lefty, 3,879. Depending on if both those guys are in the lineup, they've been hitting pretty well the past week.
I used to own a Ski-Doo.
What does that have to
It
do?
wasn't a Kawasaki. It was a Ski-Doo.
All right, we got to talk about some pitchers, though. We got a couple minutes left here. I'm personally not touching King Felix. I think he's going to be too highly owned and just way, way too expensive for me.
I think there are some other options there that you can look at. I like Zach Greinke a lot tonight.
Yep.
He's at 16.4. Braves are 7th in Ks versus righties, and 9.59 Ks per 9. I mean, you could always get a gem out of Greinke, and he's lower than that top tier of guys that's up there around 17,000.
Yeah, I like a couple guys in that tier though. I love Corey Kluber tonight. Seattle. I mean, we talk about going up against Felix. It might be hard to get a win there, but Kluber is a steep discount from Felix Hernandez. He's getting three plus thousand away from him, and he can put up 12 to 14 points easily if he needs to.
Very true.
And then Max Scherzer, your boys, faced Chicago, the White Sox, 3 times this season, an average of 12 fantasy points. For his price, that's exactly what you want out of him. 12 points.
Yep.
Yeah, your boy?
Yeah, he's my boy tonight.
All right, what about, can we find some pitching value tonight? Because I feel like there's a lot of big names we've been talking about.
Danny Duffy.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Going up against Minnesota. He has a 2.47 ERA this season. It does not make any sense.
Have you heard about him? No.
It does not make any sense, but if he's not giving up runs, that means he's also not getting any points taken away from him.
It's because his name's Danny Duffy.
Yeah, exactly. And 9,600, I think that's a pretty solid value play.
Yeah.
Minnesota's not good.
If I'm going for some value, I'm probably going to go with Joe Kelly for St. Louis, only because going up against San Diego, again, Jesse Hahn has been incredible, but his price is so high now, around 17,000, he scares the crap out of me. He hasn't been getting that nice of results that warrant going all the way up that high.
Yeah, a couple decent value plays. Awful lineup for both those opposing teams.
Yes, there are. All right, coming after the break, we're giving you all of our top plays for Wednesday to make your best lineup on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And you'll see the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
Welcome back to the Star Fantasy League show.
Let's close up this bad boy.
That's true. We got to close out the show. Before we do that, we got to give you our top plays for the day, Wednesday, just over an hour to set your lineups on starfantasyleagues.com. We're giving you the top plays, top batter, top pitcher, top stack, top value to make your best team.
All right, I'm wrapping up this segment of the SFL show like hot tamale relish with
That makes no sense.
Okay,
Is it milk iced tea or whatever? Steak milk or what?
Sugar honey milk iced tea.
You said something really dumb.
Right.
That's a thing.
I'm gonna go with Brett Gardner as my top play versus Colby Lewis. He's been hitting it out. It doesn't really matter what's going on. Good setup against Colby Lewis as a lefty. Also a lefty, actually a switch hitter. At 5,100 is Chase Headley, who has been over 5 fantasy points in three of his last 5 games.
He's been good for the Yankees, hasn't he? That was a good pickup.
Yeah, he's looking good so far. Zach Greinke, 16,400, right around there. And, I don't have a problem with it. I think he's going to get a lot of Ks against the Braves tonight and roll away with it.
Solid.
What do you think?
It.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that was really
pretty
nice.
good, right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
And you know what? It was definitely like hot tamale relish.
Right.
That was
I know.
hot tamale relish.
I really hope somebody's listening to the show. Tweet us at SFL Show if you believe any of the things that Zach mentions, food-related, are actually doable.
Just tweet us hot tamale relish so we know.
Yeah, if you do that, you get $10 in your account on starfantasy.com if you tweet us at SFL Show hot tamale relish. Go. All right, Nick.
All right, my play of the day is going to be David Ortiz, who has had a great lifetime against Mark Burley. 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, and 72 at-bats. Great slash line, too. Johnny Gomes is going to be my value play of the day at 4,200. He has been stellar against Burley as well. He's a righty. He should be able to knock one out of the park tonight, I think. That's my call. I'm calling it. He's doing it.
You ever put smoked sausage and relish in a blender?
Max Scherzer's going to be my pitcher of the day.
My God.
He's been phenomenal against the White Sox, and the White Sox are batting .215 collectively against Scherzer, so I think there's going to be a high strikeout percentage there. And stack the Yankees, stack the Red Sox, stack anybody in the AL East that's actually not doing well.
They're pretty much all doing well except the Red Sox. So
nobody's doing well. If the Red Sox aren't winning, nobody's winning.
All righty, I guess it's my turn, and I probably should stay on this Yankee train, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's plays of the day just has to be a Yankee.
Yankees suck.
All right, I'm going with Mark Teixeira. I like him. He hit a bomb last night. I think he can follow it up. He's got a beautiful, beautiful matchup against a King Chud and Colby Lewis. So
he definitely launched himself right up to Chud Moore.
Yep,
with the way that he's not only been playing, but the way that he's been acting, which is like a complete fool.
He's above. He's like he's the creator of Mount Chudmore.
We're gonna have to come up with an actual 4 on our Chudmore.
That's gonna be a segment. We're gonna do that.
He's already there.
All right, my pitcher of the day. I'm going with this. I did a value pick yesterday. I went with Marcus Stroman. I'm going again. I'm going with Joe Kelly for St. Louis as a value pitcher of the day. I think for some value, you can get in some Colorado Rockies hitters. See who's in the lineup: Willem Rosario, DJ LeMahieu, any of those guys that are in there. Get them in. They're really inexpensive, and there's nobody really in that lineup right now. There are a lot of injuries, and wow, what a surprise! We sound like a broken record on this show. This is the first time I think we've agreed on one stack throughout. Stack the Yankees tonight.
Yeah, I can't look away from it.
Colby Lewis stinks.
Yep, Colby Lewis stinks. And I've played Chase Headley almost every day since he's been traded to the Yankees because he just seems to – usually when players get traded to the Yankees, either they show up or they disappear and can't handle the spotlight. It seems like he's able to handle it. He's been playing really well.
I know you guys aren't going to be rooting for the Yankees, but I just want to see Colby Lewis get shelled.
That's something you can root for in daily fantasy sports, especially on starfantasy.com if you have a bunch of Yankees in your stack.
I'm also just going to do it in general.
Yeah, all right. If you want to get in some free rolls, starfantasy.com, $50 free rolls Tuesday and Thursday of every week, $5 free rolls $10 free rolls every other day. $1,000 guaranteed prize pools.
Only a couple weeks till we're getting some NFL action up there.
I'm so excited. Play on starfantasy.com. $1,000 guaranteed prize pools every single day. Football. I am so excited.
And money.
Yes, money.
Football and money.
Lots of money to go around. And if you agree that Colby Lewis is the king of Mount Chudmore, you're right. He's a whiny baby. Take it easy, guys.